Hi everybody, welcome back. If you don't know, my name is Cooper, and today we're going to be taking this standard kitchen and transforming it into 3 unique and individual designs. Personally, my design style falls under the lines of eclectic, minimalism, cinematic, and really moody. I really love having an extra element of coziness that those styles provide. I am super excited for this video as I love seeing the potential for spaces. Also, I just wanted to give a little bit of a disclaimer that these are all for creative and fun purposes and are not hard down kitchen designs. Right now we're working with a pretty standard and flat space. There seems to be a little bit of spatial awkwardness going on here, and the colors are just not very lively and it feels a little barren. I don't love what's going on here. I don't like any of these cabinets. I don't like anything. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is remove everything from the room so we can get a better look at what we're working with here. Okay, great. So this opened the space up a lot. We have a lot more room to work with. For this first design, I really want to go for something really chic and lofty. I've been really inspired by these high-end jewel tone designs that have been kind of growing in popularity in New York City, and I really want to design something in that realm. Okay, so if you notice, a lot has changed now. I went ahead and I put in this French style loft window. I thought it would really create this really unique contrast with the modern cabinetry that I've selected. For the cabinetry, I went with a buttery yellow base cabinet that's really sleek and modern, and then I paired it with this polished stainless steel countertop and backsplash. I think this can create a really cool effect that will be really impactful in the final design. What's next here? We have this wall next to the window, so I thought this would be a great place for a bookshelf. And I know what you're saying right now. Cooper, what are you doing? Why are you putting a bookshelf right in the middle of a kitchen? But you just need to see where I'm going with this. I picked this dark oak wood here to kind of go with the flooring that I chose and to ground the space, because without it, everything feels like it's floating a little bit. So I really think we should add some upper cabinetry to the space to tone down that super shiny backsplash. And I think we should also put an island in here. And something that I thought would be a really cool idea was taking this bookshelf, building it into the wall, and then having the island extend off of that. That's something I haven't really seen too much, and I think it could look really cool. So this is our lovely island. I've also went ahead and added some upper cabinetry here. I just went with some really simple standard upper cabinetry in the same kind of buttery yellow as before. Kind of help keep the kitchen a little bit warm and a little bit less drab. I like where we're at here, but I think the space still feels a little bit flat because we just have the yellow. We don't have any super vibrant colors going on here, and it also still feels a little bit dark. And to the left of the bookshelf, we still have a lot of open space. I went ahead and added another window here. I also extended the wall out next to the kitchen to create this red pantry moment that really stands out, and I think it adds a lot of warmth to the space. I also have this idea in my head that, you open the cabinetry and you can walk through it into a pantry. So now we've got the basic foundation for the kitchen done. So now it's time to start adding lighting and furniture and decor. As for lighting goes, I really want to do something that is not modern in here. I think this kitchen has a lot of stark, clean lines. I selected these really great stained glass pendant lights. They kind of have a floral shape to them that I really like, and it's much more organic than the rest of the space, which I think helps to soften it a lot. Next, I put in these stools. They're just a simple, wood frame stool with an upholstered seat. I always feel that if you're gonna have seating in your kitchen, the seating always needs to have somewhat of a back, unless it's a very small space. I really love these for the reason that they're pretty low profile, but they still have that back support, if you need it, and you're not gonna fall backwards out of your chair. So the space, it feels a little bit warmer, but I still think we can add a little bit more texture and warmth. Instead of having these really clean white walls, I thought this would be a great place to do wallpaper. So I put in this really gorgeous floral vintage wallpaper. I thought it would kind of bring down the space a little bit, just like the lamps, and make it feel a little bit more timeless and a little bit less stark. All right, so that seems like it's pretty much the final design. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some finishing touches on it, and then we'll take a look at the final product. This is our final product, and I absolutely love it. I think we have a lot of unique things going on in the space. It's a very structured base, but then we kind of add some elements that are out of the ordinary to kind of soften it and give it some more life. This I'm gonna call the Chic New York City townhouse kitchen. I feel like that's a good name for it. So now that we have that kitchen finished, I want to really kind of mix it up. I don't want to go that really apartment vibe. I really want it to feel like a home, and I really want it to feel even cozier than the last one. Something else that I've always been super inspired by when it comes to interior design is the inside of sailboats. And I know that sounds crazy, but I absolutely love all the wood paneling that's going on and all the teak. I just think it looks so nice and so warm inside, and I think conveying that in a kitchen could be really interesting. All right, so now we've got our blank canvas once again. I really wanted to kind of alter the space in a way that we hadn't done before. I added this really great terracotta tile flooring that I think really helps to bring a more vintage element to this. I really want it to feel like an older home. I also put in these really great collapsible kitchen windows because I really feel like this is going to be a house with a little garden outside. I selected this really beautiful teak cabinetry with a dark oak butcher block countertop. I thought this was a really great pairing with the windows in the floors to kind of bring in that more mid-century leaning element. And I also did knobs on the drawers and then kept the lower cabinetry pressed to open so it doesn't feel too traditional. I incorporated some more cabinetry as I did in the last kitchen, but this time in a really great striking blue color. I really think this helps to offset the rest of the space and make it feel a little bit more layered and a little bit more interesting. And obviously, we don't have any kind of practical countertops here. We've got butcher block, which is wonderful, but we can't really have a stove on butcher block. It's usually not the best idea. We definitely need to add an island here with a stove. For the kitchen island, I did the same teak cabinetry, but then I also incorporated a stainless steel countertop. As you guys probably can see by now, I love stainless steel countertops, but I really felt that this would be practical for the space, as I would imagine somebody who has this kitchen would really love to cook. I incorporated some ultra modern features like this really fancy stove, and then I also incorporated this really great vent hood for the island. I think adding this island also helps to bring in the blue a little bit more because it does feel very separated without the island. The island adds an extra element of modernity to the space that I think really helps bring the two together. And as you guys know, I said before that I really want this space to feel like the inside of a sailboat, so I really wanted to incorporate some wood paneling into the space. I took that same teak wood that we used for the lower cabinetry and covered the walls and the ceiling in it. I think this really grounds the space and makes it feel so much more cozy. So we've got these huge windows, but what are we supposed to do at night, right? We've got to add some lighting. I wanted to do something pretty minimalist when it comes to lighting in here because we do have can lights in the ceiling, as you can see, but I think adding some sconces and some lamps to this kitchen will really help to warm it up a little bit. On the right side next to the window, I added this really amazing brass Art Deco sconce. I also did this really cool space age style table lamp on the left. It has a really cool glass ring surrounding it, and it creates a really warm glow in the space. And lastly, we just need to add some final decor, and that's going to be it. So here we have our final design. Overall, I really love this kitchen. I think it has such a variety of color, and it's really fun. I can just imagine somebody having some great dinner parties with everybody standing around while they're cooking. And yeah, I would absolutely love to have this kitchen personally. I wanted to take a little bit of a break to talk about the sponsor of today's video, which is Coohom 3D interior design software. So if you're wondering how I'm creating these beautiful renderings, it's through Coohom. They have specialized interior design software that not only includes 2D, 3D, 4D, and 8K level renderings. They also allow you to choose from a variety of materials and components that can be really helpful for any project. This is something that I absolutely love to use with my clients and can really help to make them see the full vision. And I know what you're saying. Okay, Cooper, this is a 3D interior design software. That sounds hard to learn, but also for my viewers who aren't designers or decorators, this is also for you. It's super easy to learn. It only takes about a day, and you can create some really beautiful spaces with it. Thank you so much to Coohom for sponsoring this video. And again, if you want some more information, check out the description of this video. All right, so what have we done so far? We've done a really cool chic New York City kitchen. We did a more bungalow-esque cozy, mid-century modern kitchen. And so now I want to mix it up. I want to do something a little bit different and not something so along the lines of my own personal style and put myself out of the box. I really want to try and design a kitchen that is bright and airy, but also still interesting and warm. I think the standard kitchen is kind of trying to get at that style, but I don't think the execution is right. And so I wanted to show you guys what my execution of this more neutrally style would be in a way that's still fun. Because if your space doesn't convey personality, it's not going to be fun. And who wants to be in an unfun space? For this kitchen, I really want to imagine it as, a very traditional, old style American home that has a lot of Craftsman features and a lot of character. And I kind of want to bring that character and craftsmanship into our time period. So now we're looking at the space. It looks completely different now. I did a couple things. I swapped out our very boring, it looks like luxury vinyl plank flooring with this really beautiful reflective mint green tile. Honestly, I feel like mint green has gotten so much hate in the last couple years, and I think it can be used to create a really beautiful design. I also built out the kitchen a little bit. I added these two drywall pillars on both sides of the end of the kitchen to kind of section things off a little bit, since we do now have windows on both sides. As for the windows, I did these really standard windows that have a little bit more depth and character to kind of incorporate that craftsman element. To keep things really bright and light and airy in here, I did this really great raw oak ceiling. I think this creates a really nice and light atmosphere. For this kitchen, I want to imagine that a family lives here and that they are just always having a great time. For the cabinetry, I wanted to mix it up a little bit from what I've been doing, and I did this cabinetry that does have an inset, but it's a very simple inset. For viewers who don't know, inset is the kind of square shape that is pushed back in the door or the drawer of the cabinet. It kind of helps to create this more woodworked element into the space. I think a lot of the times people overcomplicate it here, and it can tend to look very gaudy and very boring. As we saw in the standard kitchen, they did have an inset in their cabinets, but it was very much 2010s. So for this kitchen, I did this really beautiful off-white cabinetry. Personally, I'm not somebody who goes for a all-white kitchen, and as you'll see later, it's not going to be that, but I think that it can be worked into a really beautiful space, and I think that an all-white kitchen, when done right, can feel really bright and airy and homey. For this kitchen, I wanted to kind of incorporate that historic element, so I chose butcher block countertops. This is something that I see done in old homes quite often, and so I thought it would be a really great choice. I also did knobs on all of the cabinetry. I did this really great brass vintage knob. As you can see to the left, I also added this beautiful fluted glass door. I thought this would be a really great addition because for this kitchen, I'm imagining that there's, a seating area outside, a dining area outside where people are sitting. And obviously, because we're working with a square kitchen here, I thought adding an island would be a great fit. And so I wanted to make space for at least 2 or 3 seats for somebody to sit down in here. So now it's time to mix it up a little bit and do something fun and creative. We have this very blank slate of a kitchen. And so what I did is I added this beautiful kitchen island, which is in line with the rest of the cabinetry, but I did this really beautiful pastel tiling on every single wall, and I brought it up to the range hood for the stove. I think this introduces a very subtle pop of color. I also feel that it kind of brings the floors in a little bit more, because if you guys don't remember, we do have mint green tile flooring in here, so we do have some pastels going on. And so I really wanted to emphasize this in the tiling once again, and I think this keeps it classy and timeless, but it's not boring, at least in my eyes. Just to emphasize the kind of main focal point of the kitchen, I added in some upper cabinetry just for some more storage and to make it feel more lived in and built in. And I haven't discussed this, but for the rest of the floor plan of the space, this has been an open concept kitchen to a living room across from it. And because I wanted to go for this more craftsman homey vibe, I decided to close off the kitchen a little bit. I walled it off, and I thought this would be a really great space for, pantry and practical things like that. I built in this really beautiful custom unit, which has plenty of room for a pantry. And then on the left side, I did just this little inset nook where you can display books or, trinkets or whatever you want. So now that we've got the basics done, it's time to add in some lighting. Lighting is super important when it comes to spaces. It's what gives it the vibe. It's what makes it feel homey. For this kitchen, I selected these 2 beautiful vintage European sconces that have a marble bulb cover around them that really will create this really nice glow at night. I also went ahead and added in this really great vintage table lamp to kind of tie in the more Victorian and Craftsman vibe that I feel that this house would have. And for seating, I really wanted to mix it up and do something fun here because we do have a relatively sleek and minimalist kitchen. So I added these really funky oak and white bar stools that I think kind of mix it up and give it a more fun vibe. Now it's time for the finishing decorations, and I always feel that incorporating impactful decor on a smaller scale is always the best idea when it comes to a kitchen. Overall, I absolutely love this kitchen. Would I personally live here? Probably not, but I feel like this would be really wonderful for a family who still wants a little bit of fun going on in their house. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoy this video, and I know what you're thinking, Cooper, don't you post on Sundays? Yes, but also this week I'm posting today and on Sunday. So you guys are getting 2 videos, and they're kind of in the same realm. So get excited for the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts on these kitchens. Which one would you live in? As usual, you can find me on Instagram at Cooper Osinski Interiors. And if you want to book a consultation with me to become one of my clients, you can visit my website, cooperosinski.com, where you can find my email and book a consultation. And I would absolutely love to help you with whatever you need interior-wise. And thanks again to Coohom for sponsoring this video. And check out the description for some more information on them. And yeah. Bye.